So this video is actually on eucalyptus trees, but I wanted to show you this first. This is a black oak, and it's almost to the point where all the brand new growth is gone. This is what the leaf looks like normally, but the brand new leaves, as they're developing, they come out with this beautiful pink hue, and I wanted to share that with you. All right, on with the main topic. Giant blue gum eucalyptus from Australia. They were imported into California in the 1850s, and there are some absolute giants growing in California. They're a fairly difficult tree to work on because they're slippery, they're not easy to climb. Fortunately, I was able to use the bucket on a lot of both of these trees. The job took us a full day for one of the trees and then a full day for the second tree. I'm doing a little bit of roping here. Jorge went up and we took off. It doesn't look like it, but it's a fairly large piece of wood. There was a lot of plants that were protecting underneath here. But I'd like to talk a little bit about the gloves that I'm wearing. You see, I'm not letting it slide because I picked up a pair of gloves that I was climbing with, and I really like certain types of gloves. This is actually my favorite. This is called the Maxi Flex, and I highly recommend it. You can buy them on Amazon. You can get them in a 10-pack. I think they're about $8 or $10 a pair. There we go. That's what's left of my 10-pack. But the best of gloves don't help if you don't button up your sleeves. But I like them for climbing and working the trees. I tried these gloves here made by Cat, and I thought, well, if they're made by Caterpillar, they must be pretty good, but they really didn't hold up very well. They're made in China. I think all the gloves are made in China. Now, this is a pair of gloves I really like. It's made by Wells Lamont, and it's got a leather face on it, which is really good for lowering. As you probably saw in that last video, I didn't let that log slide down all through because the gloves I had on were sticking. And you got the old standbys, the full leather gloves, but I find them really stiff and hard to work with. So, sometimes I put them on. Then we got these old things, which are cheap and, they're leather, but I've never liked them. The cuff is kind of dangerous. Let's get back up in the tree. So, like I said, I was able to use the bucket on a lot of this tree. Some of it was higher than I could reach with the bucket, so we had to do some climbing. The client was very concerned about the structural integrity of these trees because during the recent storms, not too far from where this client lives, there was a fairly large eucalyptus tree that fell down. And when you see a eucalyptus tree fall down, it puts the fear of eucalyptus trees into you. But in all honesty, I don't see these trees go down that often. But when they do, they're so big, they're so heavy, if they hit something, they cause a lot of damage. Now this tree's got some weaknesses. Here's a pretty bad weakness right here. This is probably something that they're going to have to pay attention to, but I wasn't too concerned about it yet, but when you see something like that, you should really watch it. All right, we're on to the second day now. And these trees are actually a lot of work. And I wanted to point out a problem with these trees. There's a number of insects that attack these giant blue gums. The chewing on the leaves is caused by the tortoise beetle. And it was really hard to find any leaves on the tree that were not chewed up. I have a video in my collection on the tortoise beetle. And this is what a leaf looks like that was not chewed on. And honestly, it was hard to find them. And this is damaged by another insect called the Eucalyptus psyllid. There's yet another insect that is devastating to this species of tree, and that is the Eucalyptus longhorn borer. Now, I wanted to talk a bit about this is an interesting figure. It's a figure pattern that you'll find in maple. They call it bird's eye maple. And once in a while, you'll find this figure pattern growing in different types of trees. It doesn't weaken the tree, but it creates some very, very interesting lumber. And this tree had a lot of it throughout. Now, eucalyptus is not commonly used as lumber. I suppose if you made veneer out of it, it could be some absolutely gorgeous veneer. But there was a couple of other interesting things about this particular tree. There was a growth area where there was a union of two branches that merged, and you can see that they've actually grown together and become one. And I thought that was just fascinating. I see that once in a while. There's a better shot of it. It grows all the way up. They completely go together, and you couldn't see any very crisp union line there at all. Now, I've seen this in oak trees a few times, principally the live oak, where two branches were rubbing together for a long time. I also see quite often where the abrading causes the trees to just lose all their bark. This is interesting. This is a piece of the shedding bark. This is an exfoliating bark. Every year it sheds its outside layers, and the bird's eye effect in there, actually, you can see it all the way through into the outside bark. I think this is fascinating. I really, I love these giant trees, and I think that a lot of people don't care for these trees because they're so big, because they're so messy, so many problems. But that's exactly why I like them, because they're so unique and they get so massively big. They're fun trees to work in, but they can be a hell of a lot of work. And this is what the tree looks like when it's all done. I did end up peeling off all that loose bark, which made a huge difference in the appearance of the trees. I hope you guys enjoy seeing what the trees in our area are like and the unique, different imported examples of these giant eucalyptus trees. Thanks a lot for taking the time to view this presentation, and please subscribe. Thanks.